This offshore oil rig is 16 floors high and as wide as 2 football fields, and its weight is amazingly more than an aircraft carrier. This oil platform, called Appomattox, is currently present in the Gulf of Mexico, 130 kilometers from Sahil, Louisiana in North America. But its destination started a few years ago from thousands of miles away in South Korea. After 7 years of hard work, when the Appomattox was ready, the engineers had to face a challenge that they were doing for the first time in their career. The issue was that this Diokamat structure had to be sent from South Korea to the Gulf of Mexico, and for this, the world's largest marine transport vessel was to be ordered. Lifting the Gaia Cortex oil platform and placing it on this vessel was a task that was supposed to take at least 7 days. But suddenly they got the news that a storm has been born in the Pacific Ocean, and this storm has taken the form of a super typhoon. A typhoon of this level is born once in 20 years. This typhoon is rotating at a speed of 315 kilometers, and then this typhoon is rotating at a speed of 315 kilometers per hour. This typhoon will be rotating at a speed of 315 kilometers per hour for the next 7 days. After this, South Korea can attack Sahil at any time, and we all know that when the super typhoon attacks anywhere, it does not go without harm. Workers, engineers, and transport experts were now faced with the daunting task of accomplishing 7 days worth of work in only 3. If the Appomattox oil platform wasn't promptly lifted from the shipyard and loaded onto a marine vessel within the slated 3 days, potentially years of hard work could be rendered futile in a blink of an eye. This impending problem sent tremors throughout the entire management hierarchy. We wish to extend a warm welcome once again to our viewers. This oil platform was the most significant project of Shell Oil Company, and there was absolutely no space for any errors. The vital task was to complete the residual work to steer clear of the impending super typhoon and dispatch the Appomattox ahead of schedule. In aid of this Herculean feat, an extra workforce was summoned. These employees worked round the clock to hastily prepare the Appomattox for transport. Meanwhile, management was collaborating with the Meteorological Administration to consistently track the movement of the super typhoon. The management, on another front, was liaising with the Meteorological Administration to keep a close watch on the super typhoon's trajectory. They had a hope that maybe this super typhoon would change its direction, but their hopes were dashed when they came to know that the typhoon is increasing directly from the Pacific Ocean to South Korea. The army of workers completed all the work of Appomattox within just 3 days, and now it was the turn to lift this Diokamat structure and on the floating dock. The weight of this entire structure was surprisingly said to be 4,100 tons. So much steel was not even used in the construction of Burj Khalifa as much as was applied on this oil platform. With the help of large hydraulic jacks, it was pushed by 1 inch and placed on the floating dry dock. With the help of tugboats, the floating dock was towed away from the shipyard, from where it was to be loaded into this marine vessel. It is the world's largest marine transport vessel, which can easily carry a weight of 9,800 tons. And on this, Appomattox had to go to the Gulf of Mexico, the other corner of the world. The next morning, the Appomattox were taken off the floating dock. Now the oil platform started floating on the water for the first time. With the help of tugboats, the platform was pulled to the Majid deep water, where this marine vessel was already waiting. On the other hand, the super typhoon was rapidly moving towards South Korea, and a sword was hanging on the head of the management. Now the super typhoon was just 48 hours away, and as it was getting closer, its signs were also emerging in the sea. The process of winds and waves was increasing in the sea, which was a danger sign for the Appomattox. The next moment was very delicate. Loading the oil platform on the vessel is a very complicated task. To do this, the vessel first sucks water into its water tanks, causing it to submerge. The tugboats then pull the oil platform and position it over the vessel, after which the vessel ejects the water, causing it to rise back to the surface. However, this task isn't as simple as it appears in this animation. A calm sea is crucial for this operation because if performed amidst waves, the appomattox won't correctly align on the vessel, and this could pose a significant risk to both. The sea was incredibly rough due to the super typhoon, making it impossible to continue the operation due to high waves and strong winds. On the other hand, time was speeding by and the whole team's stress level was notably high. Fortunately, the weather department gave a relief signal to the team by allocating only 2 hours the next morning where there was a prospect of a calm sea. If the operation wasn't completed within these 2 hours, there won't be another opportunity. The super typhoon was just 36 hours away. As mentioned in this morning's report, the sea was wholly quiet. During the first break, the oil platform was hoisted onto the vessel and the vessel lifted it out of the water to load it onto itself. Several hours before the super typhoon, Appomattox finally managed to bid South Korea goodbye. Shell had finished its first task of saving its oil platform from the super typhoon, but that doesn't signify that there won't be more challenges. After many months of journey, the oil platform was reloaded in South Texas since 4 modules were being constructed there. One by one, these modules were fitted onto the platform and it was sent off to its destination 130 kilometers away, where it was to remain for the following 40 years. After an intensive 7 years of hard work, the crucial time came when the Appomattox needed to connect with the oil well beneath 3,000 feet. At the location where the Appomattox floats, the ocean floor is 7,400 feet deep. It's so deep that 3 Burj Khalifas could fit inside it. But the oil well that the Appomattox had to connect to was staggeringly deeper, an additional 22,600 feet. The pressure of water is very high at such a depth of the sea where it is impossible for a human to go and then carry out a mission there. So the sea. To connect the Appomattox with the opening of the oil well at the bottom of it was decided to use remotely operated underwater vehicles. Installation crew installing underwater pipelines from a different platform. He sent the ROV into the sea with the help of it. It was a very complicated work is done in which the pipeline is placed right above the opening of the oil well. Land has to be done 7,400 feet below. To do this work with such accuracy, the control is in the hands of the ROV operator sitting above, which is the control of a video game. It's like it's mission performing. Luckily, it's done in the first turn. It was done. Now it was to transfer the pipe from the installation platform to the Appomattox. This process is called riser transfer, in which 4 different vessels are simultaneously transferred. First one of the Appomattox was taken out of the chain, then the ROV did it. The chain was taken to another ship where it was pulled from another platform. Finally, it was pulled from Appomattox and the pipe was brought to its place. Afterward, the drilling process began and it was about 2,600 feet deep under the seabed. The pipe had to be drilled down to the oil well, and after several months of drilling, the pipe finally reached the oil well. Now it was time to pump the oil. The entire team had gathered to witness this. The oil pump was turned on with the press of a button. When the oil first pumped out from 3,000 feet below, it felt like a wave of happiness had spread over everyone's faces. It looked like the 7 years of hard work of the workers, engineers, and management had finally paid off. The flow and quality of the oil were absolutely perfect. Today, Appomattox produces 175,000 barrels of oil every day, creating enough fuel for 4 million vehicles in a day. Shell believes that Appomattox will continue to produce this amount of oil for the next 40 years. Or until 2060. We hope you guys will like and share. Thank you so much for your loving comments. We will see you in the next great video.